Nova Scotia is Atlantic Canada's biggest province. What was once seen as a quiet and a remote place, it's now one of the fastest growing provinces in all of Canada. But with that growth comes new challenges. Rising housing costs, job competition, and a healthcare system that's under significant strain. That raises the question, should you move to Nova Scotia in 2025 and into 2026? So what we're going to do, we're going to break this down. We're going to look at affordability, job opportunities, and healthcare. And we're going to let you decide if life in Nova Scotia on the Atlantic Ocean is right for you. For years, Nova Scotia was known as being one of Canada's most affordable places to live. But that's changed pretty quickly, and it changed really all started around the pandemic. And since then, the population has surged, especially in Halifax, which Halifax, or the HRM, has over 400,000 residents now, and it continues to climb. And in recent years, we saw Nova Scotia pass 1 million people, a number years ago that many people didn't think was possible for the little province of Nova Scotia, but here we are. That growth has pushed prices way up. The average home price in the city of Halifax now sits over $550,000. That's nearly double what it was back in 2019. And renters are also feeling it. Try to find a rental in the city of Halifax that's under $2,000 that offers a nice place to live, decent size, and in a good location. Under $2,000, you're likely not to find anything, and you want something a bit bigger, a 2-bedroom, maybe a 3-bedroom apartment. It's just going to keep climbing, and you're going to be into the $3,000 range really quickly. The rental market is one of the worst in Canada in Halifax. There's no sugarcoating it. It's not affordable to live in Halifax, especially when you look at salaries in the city of Halifax compared to someone with maybe similar rent prices. Look at a city like Montreal or Toronto or even Calgary. You're going to make more money likely in Montreal, Toronto, or Calgary, and you're going to pay similar rent prices. So it's hard to keep up in Halifax. Also, groceries and gas prices are typically slightly higher in Nova Scotia compared to the national average. So affordability is something you need to seriously consider. And if you're on the edge of moving to Nova Scotia, whether it's Halifax or to a more rural part of the province, think about it, budget it out, and does it make financial sense? Because as much as you may want to move out east for the charm and for what it has to offer, you really have to consider the affordability part, because it's not as affordable as it once was. Next, we're going to look at job opportunities. So when it comes to jobs, Nova Scotia has come a long way, but still doesn't necessarily compete with other major hubs in Canada. What Halifax has become a hub for are tech startups, university employment. Of course, there are plenty of universities that are offering very good jobs in the province of Nova Scotia. And there's a lot of government work in Nova Scotia as well. The Irving shipyard continues to provide steady employment, and sectors like healthcare are on massive hiring sprees and are aggressively targeting candidates from other provinces, but also through education initiatives. Just Google what Cape Breton University and the province of Nova Scotia have collaborated on to help bring doctors, or future doctors I should say, to the province, and their goal of keeping them in Nova Scotia after they graduate to continue to build on the healthcare system that they're trying to improve. Construction also highly in demand as the province continues to grow. Infrastructure is needed, and infrastructure is being built. However, unemployment I should say, across the province is around 6%. It is close to the national average, but it's still pretty high, and rural communities often struggle with the unemployment rate more so than the urban areas surrounding Halifax and Sydney. So if you're looking at healthcare, maybe a trade or public service, your job prospects might actually be pretty good. But for higher paying corporate roles, opportunities can be limited compared to, let's say, in Ontario, Quebec, or Alberta. So that's something you should keep in mind. Now, let's talk about healthcare. Still, in 2025 and moving into 2026, healthcare still remains Nova Scotia's biggest challenge. As of October 1st, 2025, there are over 77,000 Nova Scotians that do not have access to a family doctor, which represents about 7.3% of the population. That being said, if it is like how it is in other provinces, there's probably more, because the list that you get put on while you're waiting for a family doctor to be assigned to you, that list, you have to go on it yourself, or you have to be recommended onto the list. Therefore, there are probably many people within the province who have not taken the step to be put on the list and who are without a family doctor, which means the number is definitely higher than the 77,500. And that shortage in turn has led to very, very long wait times and very overcrowded emergency rooms, not only in urban areas, but especially in rural areas of the province. The province has started to roll out urgent care clinics and recruitment incentives. As I mentioned before, the initiative that the government launched with Cape Breton University to bring in more doctors and to retain them in Nova Scotia after they graduate, it's huge, it's progress, but the progress is slow. Virtual healthcare is also popping up and it's growing, but again, the progress is slow. Not everyone is seeing the benefit of it. So, if you do decide to move to Nova Scotia, especially if you're moving outside of Halifax, expect delays in getting consistent medical care. It is improving, but it's still a long ways from where it needs to be. So to finish this video off, we're going to just look at the lifestyle and the quality of life that Nova Scotia has to offer in 2025. So despite problems in the economy with infrastructure, healthcare, problems that, let's be honest, all provinces are facing in different ways, Nova Scotia does have its own charm, and there's a reason so many people love to call it home. You're close to the ocean almost everywhere you go in the province. Outside of Halifax, traffic is reasonable. Traffic in Halifax, whole different story. I could make a video solely talking about the traffic in Halifax, but that's a different topic for a different day. Nova Scotia offers an extremely strong sense of community. There's world-class scenery. Of course, everyone's heard of the Cabot Trail, Peggy's Cove, and it has some of Canada's friendliest people. Halifax is a city that offers a lot of culture, great food, great nightlife, and it's a city, but it's still small enough that it doesn't feel like a big city, even though it's grown so much in recent years. And if you prefer peace and quiet, rural Nova Scotia gives you space and affordability, depending on where you go. And if you're okay with a slower place, it is a great place to call home, and it's one of Canada's gems. So that leads us to the big question. Should you move to Nova Scotia in 2025 or into 2026? The answer, it's complicated. It depends on what you're looking for and what sacrifices you're willing to make to gain the coastal lifestyle, a lower stress environment, and the strong community spirit that Nova Scotia has to offer. But again, consider, if you need fast healthcare, a huge job market, or urban convenience, you may face challenges. That being said, if you're in some of the occupations that I listed earlier, you will do very well in Nova Scotia, and you will be welcomed into the province very quickly, and you're going to be able to take full advantage of what it has to offer. It's truly a special place, and it is definitely somewhere to look at. I can't tell for certain if you specifically are going to do well in Nova Scotia, if you're going to enjoy it, but my advice, look at job postings in your work domain, look at the housing market, whether you're going to rent or buy, and take a serious look at it, because when things go on the market, the second there's something for a reasonably well priced, whether it's a home, apartment, townhouse, whatever, it's going to be gone quick, because the key word there is well priced. There's not a lot of it, especially in the urban areas. And then if you do find something in the more rural areas, you still have to act quick, because there is still likely more demand than there is supply. So I thank all of you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments about what you think of Nova Scotia. Would you consider moving there in 2025? It's a very special place. It's my home province originally, and it's a place that I think if run well, it has a ton of potential to continue to grow and to be a great place for people to move to and a great place for the locals to live in. So hopefully things continue to be on the right path moving forward, and the province can continue to grow and not just be known as a small East Coast province that doesn't really have anything to offer in comparison to the bigger provinces like Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia, because I think there's a lot more there than meets the eye, per se. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.